Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon on YouTube, and then I post it up to Facebook, name of the same name. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. Okay, so I wanted to answer some of the questions that I missed or I didn't get to on Sunday, and I have some other questions that I didn't get to from last week, so I want to try to get in as many as I can. Okay, question. Do you have any references for therapists who do EMDR over video chat? No, I don't actually. What I would suggest is that you go to Psychology Today and look up EMDR, or you can look up EMDR, therapists in your area, and that should pop up all of the therapists that do EMDR in your area. You want to make sure that they have a thorough training in it. So what is driving me crazy is when I see people throw up a sign and say, oh, I do EMDR. Really? What's your training? Oh, I took a seminar, a one-weekend seminar. No, you want somebody who specializes in EMDR, who knows what they're doing. Why? Well, like with any therapy, there's going to be stuff that gets brought up. So I have had clients that, do both. They do both talk therapy and EMDR, and, they'll be working in the EMDR and they'll come to me and they'll be like, oh, I've regressed. I feel like I'm a teenager. What the hell? And then I'll have to work with the therapist to figure out what the heck happened and, get them up and running as an adult again. So, there are things that happen in EMDR, such as remembering abuse and being able to talk through it, and it's going to start things moving again. So you want to make sure that you get with somebody who knows what the HE double toothpicks they're doing. So you can look up on Psychology Today, or you can just type in EMDR therapist in my area, and then you find out what their credentialing is, what's their training. It should be a thorough training, and they should have some sort of certificate stating that they have done a 2-year training or whatever it is for EMDR. So you just, you question them like nobody's business, and you investigate them like nobody's business to make sure that they are the right therapist for you. Okay, I hope that answered that question. And yes, they are doing video chat, video EMDR session things because of obviously the virus. So yeah, and you just call them and talk to them and ask them that. So, okay. Can child neglect cause symptoms similar to autism or learning disabilities? My parents were asked to get help for my older brother and stigmatized therapy, special education. Well, when a child is being abused, they start acting out in very interesting ways. And sometimes one of the ways they act out is to kind of ignore any adult that's saying anything to them, which can be construed as autism, which it's not. So PTSD is often misdiagnosed as other things, especially in kids, because for the longest time, don't get me started, for the longest time, I think therapists ignored the fact that kids can and do get PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, when they are in an environment where they are constantly either witnessing somebody getting the crap beaten out of them, or they themselves are getting the crap beaten out of them, either physically, mentally, emotionally, verbally, religiously, or otherwise. So yeah, it's possible, and you would need somebody to really get a good diagnosis and figure out what's going on. And stigmatized therapy, special education. So there's a lot of stigma around so many things. Here's the thing. Asking for help is not a stupid thing. In fact, it's a very smart thing. Smart people ask for help. Okay? Crazy people are the ones who do the same behavior over and over and over and over again and expect a different outcome. That's insane! So asking for help is a sign of good mental health. You don't stigmatize getting help. You don't stigmatize special education. You don't. Why? Because the kids are getting help. That's fantastic. That's what they should be doing. So anyone who stigmatizes that, you're probably dealing with an abuser. It's a chance to put someone down. It's a chance to be one up, that whole thing. So I hope that answered the question. All right. I had to move back home with my narc mom due to financial reasons. She allows my brother, who has the virus, to enter the house and I have an autoimmune condition. How do I manage this? You wear a mask, and you look up the guidelines for trying to stay as sane and safe and healthy as you can. The problem of it is if he has the COVID, is it asymptomatic or does he have the antibodies to it? And we don't know enough about this thing right now to know, you know, do you get immunity from it once you've had it? You know, do you have immunity once you've been, you know, exposed and you have the antibodies? So you want to wear a mask. You want to be aware that the COVID virus can live on hard surfaces for up to 3 days. You would just want to isolate and stay away from as much as possible and try to keep yourself as clean as possible, and wash your hands, don't hug, you know, that whole thing. So I don't know what else to tell you. Maybe not be in the house when they're over, but, you know, and you have an autoimmune condition. So I would say try to isolate and stay away as much as you possibly can. And I'm confused about your saying he has the virus. So does that mean he's got the antibodies to it, or does that mean he is actively sick with it, or is he asymptomatic? And how do you know this? Was there a test done? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you manage it like you do any other disease. You manage it like you do with any other communicable disease like the flu or anything else. You wash your hands, you take showers, you don't be around them, you sanitize all hard surfaces, you stay away from coughing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope that answers the question. I go off into daydreams and stay in that headspace for hours. Any tips for how to end this or be productive with this issue? So that's common. So it's really, it's kind of a form of dissociation. So we go off and we do this dysfunctional daydreaming, you know, this not really helpful daydreaming. Some daydreaming is great. Some daydreaming is really helpful where you're kind of like, oh, Hawaii right now. Oh, that's lovely. But then you come back and do whatever you need to do. So it's a way of checking out. It's a way of not dealing with reality. It's a way of not coping with whatever is going on. So what I would suggest, seriously, get with a good trauma therapist. Start working on this. What are you trying to avoid? What are you trying to not feel? And how is this serving you in any way, shape, or form? You know, obviously there's some guilt around not being productive. So, you know, this is not serving you. So I would strongly suggest figuring out what you're trying to avoid. What are you avoiding? What are you avoiding? What are you not wanting to feel? What emotions are you trying to not feel? And get with a good trauma therapist and start working on that. It is also a self-esteem issue. So the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, super good. The Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker, about boundaries. You know, CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. That's a great book. Okay, question. I like drawing, video games, and alternative fashion. How do I enjoy my hobbies without feeling guilty that I'm wasting money / time not being productive? An abuser used to chastise me along those lines. First of all, you write that an abuser a go fuck you letter. I love go fuck you letters. They're awesome. Dear abuser, fuck the fuckity fuck out of fucking fuck you asshole. I get to have my hobby. I get to spend time and money on it. Fuck you. Fuck you sideways, you son of a bitch, or you daughter of a bitch, whoever it was. Fuck them. Fuck them. They try to suck the life out of us. They try to suck the joy out of us. They try to make it so that we cannot enjoy anything. So that if we're doing something fun, and like literally, I have had clients call me up and be like, oh my God, I'm having a panic attack. And I'm like, okay, why? Well, because I'm out having fun and it's not okay. What? Whoa, stop. Thought stopping. Hello. It's okay. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to do your hobby. It's okay to not be productive every single second of the day. You know, my dad used to do that. It's interesting how these abusers behave exactly the same way, no matter where in the world they are. You'd think they have a freaking playbook. So, yeah, what abusers do is they do this thing about, oh, well, if it isn't educational or if it isn't productive, there's no reason to do it. Okay, yeah, what? So, for example, my dad would insist that we go to the opera. And I would have to sit and listen to opera. I fucking hate opera. Why? Well, the music's beautiful. I don't mind the music, but the storylines, it's like, Jesus Christ almighty, everybody dies in stupid ways. I just, don't get me started. Anyway, and so that was erudite and that was intelligent, and and erudite and intelligent people were supposed to enjoy the opera. And I'm like, dude, we're from frickin' Gridley. Hello, farmers. Hello. And he was always wanting to be better than, right? And so my thing is, if we were going to go to San Francisco, I would much rather go see a baseball game, because that's fun. And I don't have to listen to people sit there and sing to each other while they're running out of oxygen in a freaking tomb in Egypt. Jesus Christ. Anyway, and I'm sitting there going, why y'all singing? Y'all should be digging your way out like Indiana Jones. Don't get me started. Anyway, so the point being is that they insist that we can't relax, and they can't relax. And my dad would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start banging doors and pots and pans and turning on the lawnmower and, getting the chainsaw going. And even when we were on quote unquote vacation, if we were not mopping and cleaning and sweeping and vacuuming and cooking and doing laundry and all of that, he would have an absolute fit and berate us and tell us how lazy we were and how, unproductive we were and blah, 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 blah. And I'm seeing this as a pattern with a bunch of abusers. That's what they do. And it's like, they can't relax because why? Because the voice inside their head is probably demonic. It's not nice. I mean, seriously. You cannot be an abuser and have a good internal dialogue. You can't, because your internal dialogue is constantly going to be looking for, and when I say demonic, I mean like, not literally, but, it's not nice. It's evil. So, they can't stand the quiet. I love the quiet. I can sit for quiet for hours, days, probably weeks, more than likely months or years. I'd make a good hermit. Anyway, the point being is, it's like, if you like yourself and if you have a good internal cheerleader, you can be sitting and doing nothing and really enjoy it. Whereas they can't. They can't. So it has to be productive. Well, you like this craft stuff, but it's not, it's not productive. It's not da-da-da-da. Well, it makes me happy. Fuck off. Do you see where I'm going with that? So you've got to give yourself permission. You've got to give yourself permission. These people are crazy and they can't stand happiness, and they can't stand it that you're getting your joy from something that isn't them. And they can't stand joy anyway because they couldn't understand it. They cannot wrap their heads around happy. They can't. They can't, it's like, for example, like I said, we used to go up to the mountains every year, and I would just want to sit out on the porch and just look at the mountains. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to look at the mountains because it was pretty. There were birds. It was peaceful. I liked it. But my dad was like, 5 a.m., up, get up out of bed, pick up twigs. What? Why? Well, we need stuff for the stove. Meanwhile, there's like a pile 20 feet high of stuff for the stove. There was no need to pick it up. But they can't stand being quiet. They can't stand being peaceful. They can't. Their internal dialogue is chaotic. Chaos. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So when we do something nice for ourselves, drawing, painting, color books, crocheting, knitting, playing the piano, whatever, if there's not a purpose to it, they will pick at it. Well, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not productive. Tell them to go fuck themselves. Write them a go fuck you letter. And then take your power back and you let yourself know that it's okay to do whatever your hobby is. And that it's not a waste of time because you're relaxing. As long as you're not doing it 24/7. I mean, if you're like putting off everything else to do video games, there's a problem. But if you like take a couple hours and you do that, fine. There's no problem. As long as everything else is getting done, there's not a problem. But they love to make problems where there are no problems. So give yourself permission. And I would definitely write your abuser a go fuck you letter for that. Take your power back. Take your hobby back. Whatever the hobby was, dear mom, dear dad, dear caregiver, dear parent, grandparents, whatever, teacher, whoever, fuck the fuck out of fuck you assholes. Guess what? I'm gonna do this hobby that I really love 2 hours a day, and you can't say jack fucking squat about it. Why? Because I say so. So fuck you. You don't get to live in my head rent-free anymore, and you do not get to destroy my hobbies or anything I love anymore. Fuck you. Goodbye. And then trot it out to the barbecue, read it out loud once, and then burn it. And see how you feel. And then go do your hobby. So yes, absolutely. Okay. Your story about seeing an abuser at a store really brought something up. Whenever I see something like that, I feel like I should do something, but I have no clue what. Well, if you are seeing somebody being abusive in a store and you happen to get their license plate number, you can always drop a thing to DCS. Look, I don't know who this was, but I just wanted to do an FYI. This is their license plate number. This is what I heard them say. This is what I saw them do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You've got to be very, very, very careful if you're going to intercede in person. Why? Well, in Arizona, it is a concealed carry state, and almost everybody owns guns. And guess what? Cuckoo people have guns too. So, yes, you want to protect the child. I mean, like, so say, for example, there's like physical abuse going on. Oh, absolutely. You're going to call the store guard and you're going to call the police. Absolutely. Call the police. If there's physical abuse going on, call the police. If there's verbal abuse going on, you can always write down the license plate number and turn them into DCS. Now, when I say verbal abuse, I mean like name calling, telling them they're stupid, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. That's, you know, it's not like just mom or dad having a bad day and going, oh my God, you're driving me crazy. You know, not like that. It's more like directed, nasty, vicious. So yeah, call the police. Call the police. You know, that's their job. So there it is. Okay. How do you deal with someone who constantly needs to put you down to feel superior? You do not be around them. You don't be around them, period. You just do not be around them. That is the sign of a narcissist. So narcissists have to put other people down in order to feel one up, you know? They don't understand, I am you, you are me, we are all one. There is no one up. It is what it is. Hello. They don't get that. They need to jack up that very fragile ego and be superior. So if somebody's doing that, why would you want to be around them in the first place? You don't. Get rid of them. Okay, hope that answered that question. Okay. I have a friend, and I believe that she is with a narcopath, which is a narcissist and a psychopath, sociopath. He is very creepy, and I feel like she has Stockholm Syndrome. Is there anything I can do to help her? I wish she would leave him. Oh, man. You know, the number of times I wish I could just wave a magic wand and go, wake the fuck up! You know, if you pointed out what's going to end up happening is a Romeo and Juliet situation. So, you know, what you can do is just always be there for them. When I say always, I mean like healthy, always be there for them. Not like, you know, codependent, always be there for them. You can encourage them to watch videos. You could encourage them to read books. And if they don't see it and they don't want to see it, there is nothing you can do. So, I wish I could think of the term for it. It's like confirmation bias, but it's like and it's also cognitive dissonance. So they have this set of belief systems that this person is wonderful, amazing, this, that, and the other thing. You come in and say, no, they're not. And then what they'll do is run back to the abuser, tell them, the abuser will then poison them against you, and your friendship's going to blow apart anyway. So, you know, you just, without saying anything, you could be like, oh, you know, here's a great book you should read. I loved it. It was so informative and it really helped me and blah, 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 blah. But 9 times out of 10, when the person then goes back to their abuser and says, oh, my friend said I should read this book, they're going to be knowing that you're on to them and they're going to be like, oh, no, you shouldn't read that book, blah, blah, blah. So there's not much you can do. I mean, you could direct them to videos. You can encourage them to read. But if you start saying anything directly, there's going to be so much cognitive dissonance. There's going to be confirmation bias. There's another term for it. It's not confirmation bias. It's something else. It's like when you've already made up your mind, you believe this, and then incoming information, I mean, it's cognitive dissonance, but then you like redouble your efforts to prove the person wrong, that you're right and they're wrong, even though they're right and you're wrong. So, you know, there's not much you can do. I mean, it would be nice if she left, but, you know, you can lead a horse to water. Can't make him cha-cha. All right. How to meditate and follow a spirituality, Buddhism or any, without getting too lost or too lost on far spectrum esotericism, tricky new age, or too driven by the PTSD salvation fantasy to keep grounded. Well, moderation in all things, my loves. You know, I am not one of the better Buddhists. I will tell you that right now. Why? Because I don't tolerate abusers and I don't wish them well. I don't. You know, it's like, I'm not, I know this is your karma and everything, but fuck you, you know? So technically, I'm pretty sure the Buddhists would be like, well, you know, you probably shouldn't do that. So, but what you do is you take what works for you, and it's moderation in all things. Also, I'm never ever going to be a vegetarian. Sorry. I really, really love steak. So, you know, it's moderation in all things. It's moderation. You take what works and you dump the rest. And you monitor yourself. So what is common in survivors of abuse is, like you said, fanaticism, because we were raised with a fanatic. We were raised with the cult of personality. We were raised with the communal narcissist or the overt narcissist or the covert narcissist or whatever. And so extremes are taught to us. So remember, personality disordered people have a really hard time with flexibility, moving where we need to, etc. They can't. Normal people have that ability to move where we need to, etc. They can't. And so it's called splitting. It's like, you know, all, nothing, good, bad, black, white, which also means way over here on one extreme, way over here on the other extreme. And what you have to remember is life is a plethora of colors, and you want to stick to like the middle, you know, so that you can go on either side if you need to, but you're not so far over or so far over that the seesaw is completely this way. Does that make sense? So it's common. It's a common thing. And you keep grounded by constantly asking yourself, am I in the middle? Am I keeping balance? Is this balanced? Am I being moderate? That's what the word moderate means. It's moderate. It's not one or the other. It's moderate. So, okay, so there is that. I think I got those questions done. Now, there was one other group of questions. Where did it go? Where did it go? There it is. No, that's not it. Yes, that is it. Okay, okay, hang on. Gotta make sure. Did I answer those last time? Yes, I answered that one. Where did I get to? Okay. Okay, I think I answered this one last time, but I think I might as well revisit it. Hi, Chris. Sometimes I don't feel like I love anything anymore. It comes and goes. Why is this? Side note, broken up with the ex-narc a couple of years ago. Because they steal all of the emotions from us. They take our joy away, just like the question about the hobbies. They take our joy away, and they make us feel like we can't love anything, or that we shouldn't love anything, or maybe we don't have the right ability to love anything, because, geez Louise, our picker is broken, and therefore I can't love anybody. Well, that's not true. Our picker is broken, but we have to be careful who we pick. Does that make sense? But that doesn't mean that you cannot love. So we get our joie de vivre taken away from us. We get our joy taken away from us. We get our happiness taken away from us. We get our love taken away from us. And it's kind of like, how do I explain it? It's really hard because we're grieving. And this is something I'm going to be talking about this next Sunday, is the existential grief. So it's like, they're still alive. They're still walking around. And yet, we've gone through a death, as it were. So that's why it's really hard to love. And that's not uncommon. So I want to talk more about that on Sunday. You will get it back. It just takes time, and it takes grieving, and it takes allowing yourself to go through the grieving process. Okay, I always feel bad about letting go of people who are not cheerleaders. How do you deal with it if they are not toxic but are not helping to raise yourself? Well, here's the deal. If they're not supportive, then they're toxic, you know? Because it's like, and when I say cheerleader, it doesn't mean that they're like, go you, all the time, but it does mean that they're supportive, you know? And it does mean that they are there for you. So if these people are not there for you and they are not supportive, then they are toxic. Let them go. Can we keep friends who are one-up and gaslighting, yet we know they must be suffering? No. Do we end up completely isolated because we can't find perfect friends? There is no such thing as a perfect friend, guys. There's no such thing as perfect. If this were perfect, we would not be on this planet, okay? This planet is far from perfect. God love us. So you want good friends, not perfect, good enough. Meaning they're not out to harm you. They are supportive. They're there for you, and vice versa. You're there for them. It's not codependent, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't mean that you're going to not end up with friends at all. It does feel that way, though. When we leave an abusive relationship and we start getting rid of all of the flying monkeys, you know, and we kick them out and we start blocking them, it does feel, oh my God, I'm going to be alone. Holy shit. Well, it's no different than cleaning out your closet of clothes that don't fit you anymore. These people do not fit you anymore. So you get rid of them to make room for the healthy ones, the ones that do fit. And while we are alone or lonely, two different things, that is a great time to start working on self-esteem. That is a great time to get with a good trauma therapist and start figuring out boundaries. That is a great time to start working on the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. Because the fear of being alone, again, goes back to, what is this thing saying to you all the time? Is it healthy? Is it happy? Or is it mean, vicious, and what if, what if, what if? If it's mean, vicious, what if, what if, what if, you need to punt that fucker out to the curb. Why? Because you're the boss. So that is the time to start working on yourself. Okay. Okay. I think I talked about gaslighting. Okay. So gaslighting is lying. Gaslighting is lying. So if somebody is lying to you, they are gaslighting you. They are trying to alter reality. They are trying to manipulate and control you. So where we make, and this is related to the question about friends. So where we make our mistake is that we go, oh, they're suffering, therefore I need to be around them. No, that is idiot compassion. There is a difference between idiot compassion and true compassion. True compassion is being able to go, damn, sucks to be you. Wow, I see why you behave all this way. I get that your childhood was fucked up. Wow, you're an abuser. Okay, you get to figure that one out on your own. I don't need to be in your life. Bye-bye. So idiot compassion is where we go, wow, look at all that suffering. I can fix you. I can save you. I will love you into health. It doesn't work that way. They won't. They absolutely won't. Why? Because narcissists do not have compassion. I cannot explain this enough. They don't have the empathy cog. They don't. They don't look at suffering and go, oh my God, what can I do to fix this? They look at suffering and go, meh, how's this affecting me? So, yeah, so the difference between compassion and an idiot compassion, you do not have to fix them. You can see that they're suffering, absolutely. You can encourage them to get therapy. It's not going to work, you know, and other than that, you don't allow them in your life. I am not going to try to fix you. You don't need me in your life. I don't need you in my life. I am going to go do me. You go do you. I have compassion for the fact that you're a miserable human being. Okay. Bye-bye. I don't need to be there. Pima Chodron does a bunch of books that I love. Pima Chodron is the American Buddhist nun. So pick up some of her books and read up on idiot compassion versus compassion. It's really good reads. Okay. Do you get over those thoughts of what others will think of you? I have trouble going and doing things because I am so worried about if others will approve. Okay, that is codependency, okay? That is the very definition of codependency. So some great books for that are Codependent No More, Beyond Codependent No More, both by Melanie Beattie. The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. Self-Esteem, the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Then you want to work on CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker to figure out why you're so worried about what other people think. And the Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor. You know, what was said, what was done. Why are you so concerned about what other people think? So here is the ultimate clue. Here is the ultimate thing to help you. Other people are so busy with their own lives, unless they are disordered, they are not paying attention. Seriously. People are not looking at you as much as you think they are. They really are not. People have lives. Now, the ones who are looking at you and judging, there's your clue, judging, those are the ones that are disordered, because a healthy, normal person has actually got a life and doesn't have time to sit there and judge others and, worry about what other people are doing. It's like, But narcissists have all the time in the world to judge and look and point fingers and do whatever. So to help you get over that, I want you to start working on self-esteem. I want you to start working on the codependency. And I want you to start reminding yourself, it's none of your business what other people think. It's not. It truly is none of our business. What other people think of us is none of our business. And it's none of our concern. Why? We can't control it. They're going to think and say and do whatever they are going to think and say and do. And we have absolutely no control over it. So why live your life twisting yourself into a pretzel, not living your life, trying to keep somebody happy when they're going to judge you anyway? Go do you. Have fun. Live your life. Get with a good therapist. Start working on that. Figure out why. What's going on. Journal. Hey, Chris, I'm wondering if you are able to help me to not feel intimidated by emotions. Whenever I want to cry and let out my emotions, I just laugh and then suppress. Oh, that's common. Oh, boy. Can I tell you how common that is? So narcissists, abusers, etc., have a really difficult time with any emotion, but in particular, sadness and tears. It makes them angry. It sends them into a rage. So a lot of us survivors end up using humor or laughing in order to get through a situation. I mean, I know for me, I do a lot of gallows humor. I do, and especially the scarier the situation, the more gallows humor comes out of me. So, it's a thing with us because we have been made wrong for crying. Don't you dare cry. I'll give you something to cry about, that bullshit. Or they rage, how dare you cry, da 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 da, and then they go off and then they hit us or do whatever. So that is very common in survivors of abuse, to be weirded out by emotions because we're not used to them. And remember, our abusers oftentimes are addicts themselves, and addicts have a really hard time with emotions and allowing other people to have emotions. So I think it's really important to get with a good trauma therapist, again, and work on the different emotions. Allow yourself, allow. You have a right to feel those emotions. You have a right to cry. You have a right to feel angry. You have a right to feel sad. You have a right to feel betrayed, because those are your feelings. Those are yours to have. They do not belong to anybody else, and nobody else can tell you whether you have them or not. So, but that's what abusers love to do. No, you don't feel that way. What? I'm sorry. Yeah, I do. That's what they do. And they make it wrong for us to cry or whatever. So it's really important to allow yourself to cry. Crying is cathartic. Every single mammal on the face of the planet tears up when they feel pain. I think they tear up when they feel emotional pain too, because I don't think that they don't have emotions. I think that's just stupid. So they feel pain, they tear up. We feel pain, we tear up. It's normal. It's cathartic. And something that happens too is the fear of, oh my God, I'm sobbing so hard it's never going to stop. No, it'll stop. You'll be exhausted, but it'll stop. It will. And it's not that you're going to like dehydrate and die. No, you'll stop eventually, but you'll stop when your body is ready for you to stop and not before. So it's about honoring your body. It's about honoring your body. When we get that urge to cry, a lot of us get that lump in our throat or that knot in our stomach, and we're like, no, I can't cry. It's weak. That's what they told us. That was the big lie. I'll tell you what, the bravest people I have seen are the ones who come through this other side and get in touch with their emotions and are able to cry when it's appropriate, like when they're feeling stuff. Brave, sheer bravery, sheer just amazing warrior bravery. That's what warriors do. We're emotional warriors. There we go. So allow yourself to cry and reframe it. So whatever the message was that it wasn't okay, you've got to reframe it so that it is okay. You know, do mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a good day. Hey, you know what? Emotions are okay. And it's all right for you to cry if you need to. I give you permission. I give you permission is huge because you're reparenting yourself. And then walk out, you know? So do that. Oh my God, I am running out of time. And I still have more questions. Okay, so I will do this again next week or maybe in a couple of days. So what was I going to say? So this weekend, I want to talk about the existential grief. And there's a lot. And there's a lot of existential angst right now with the whole, you know, virus thing. So I want to talk about existential grief. I want to talk about existential angst, you know, how to cope with all of that. I'm going to answer more questions when I get time, because there's more and I've gone 35 minutes. Oh, also guys, I wanted to let you know, somebody was complaining about the ads the other day. I don't have control over that. All I do is say, yes, I want ads, and then they put in however many they want. If you think there's too many ads, you need to tell Google, because that's them, that's not me. So anyway, there's that. All right, kids. So Sunday is going to be existential grief, existential angst. Send in your questions then, and I will try to get to them when I have a break in the action. All right, guys, have a great day, and I will talk to you on Sunday. Bye.